Assalamu alaikum, dear brothers and sisters, and welcome to a very special show today where we'll be live from the studio with very special guests who will be talking about the Wiladat of Our Lady Fatima Zahra, peace and blessings be upon her, and looking at some of her virtues as a mother and a daughter. But more importantly, we'll have guests on the show today who will be describing their experiences and their insights and how they perform these roles in our lives today. Well, first of all, I have a very special guest on the show today, someone who's not everyone knows, all the viewers are very familiar with. We've got Zahra Al-Alawi with us, who will be talking about some of the virtues of Our Lady. First of all, thank you, Zahra, for Assalamu alaikum. Thank you for being on the show.
Wa alaikum assalam. Salam to you and the audience and everyone.
It's an absolute honor to have Zahra back. If nobody knows, Zahra has just recently had a baby boy, so congratulations. Alhamdulillah.
Congratulations.
And this is her first appearance back as a guest, speaking on this special show where we are speaking about Bibi Fatima Zahra alayhi salam. Zahra, from your experiences, how would you describe the best attributes of a mother, daughter and a wife? We all know, all the viewers know, Bibi Fatima Zahra alayhi salam was the best of all three. What would you like to share with the viewers today?
Well, like you said, it's the anniversary of the birth of the Lady of Life, Fatima Zahra alayhi salam. And when we look at the characteristics of this lady, we see that she was a magnificent wife, mother and daughter. And when we really want to improve upon ourselves, because we're all daughters, wives and mothers, so when we want to improve upon ourselves, we look at this example, this great example of this lady. And we see that when she was born, before she was born, the Prophet had children, but then they used to die in early age. So there's people that used to taunt the Prophet. They used to say Ep1. When he walks, the people used to shout Ep1, Ep1, as in the person with no progeny, the person who hasn't got a line, his line is cut. So people used to always taunt the Prophet, as in you can't have children, you don't have children, you don't have a line after you. So when Fatima Zahra alayhi salam came, she was a blessing, and that's why the Quran revealed, "Inna a'tainaka al-kawthar fasalli rabbika wanhar, inna shani'aka huwa al-abtar," that your enemy is the one. So we see that she was a blessing. But you often hear that there's a saying that the Prophet used to say, "Ummu abiha," she's a mother of her father. And when we see when we look at our lives, are we really mothers to our fathers? In a sense, we're not. So when we look at examples, let me just mention a few narrations of examples of how Fatima Zahra, the characteristics of Fatima Zahra alayhi salam. There's a narration that once the Prophet was doing sujood in Kaaba, and Fatima Zahra alayhi salam was very young at that age. I think narration says around 6 years old. So then a man by Abu Jahl, he came and he took the feces of the camel and he poured it on the head of the Prophet's Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. And when he poured it upon him, it was Fatima Zahra alayhi salam that went to him, she cleaned him, she wiped his face. She's the one that cleaned him after that. And she was so caring as a daughter that she was like a mother to him. Now a mother is, when a mum, like I've just had a child, I've seen that love towards my child, I just want to do everything for him. She was like that towards her father. That's the characteristics that she had. And there's another narration as well that, Abu Lahab, the uncle, there's in the Quran, Tabbat yada Abi Lahabin wa tab. And Abu Lahab was the uncle of the Prophet. So he used to tell people to throw stones at the Prophet, and his wife used to burn wood and she used to throw it at the Prophet. Even she used to put thrones in the ground, so he used to step on it. Fatima Zahra alayhi salam used to go, she used to even pick the thrones from her father, so that even her hands used to bleed, and she used to take it and she used to assist him when this happened. So she was a daughter and a mother to her father as well. And we see that she was magnificent. If you see Hadith al-Kisa, if someone's going to introduce my household or your household, they usually say the father's name and then they say the mother. But when we see in Hadith al-Kisa, it says Hum Fatima wa abiha wa ba'luha wa baniha. She's the center of the household. That's the importance that she had. That's how great she was. That when they introduced the household of the Prophet, we see that they introduced the household through her. So there's Fatima Zahra alayhi salam is a magnificent mother, daughter, and we see there's so many examples. When you read upon narrations, I guarantee there is no woman that history has seen as caring and as magnificent as Fatima Zahra alayhi salam. And just as this is the anniversary of her birth, when she was born, the people boycotted Khadija alayhi salam. People were telling her, how could you marry a magician, an imposter? They used to, accuse her. And, when you give birth to a child, people congratulate you, people come and help you, people assist you. As I just gave birth, everyone wanted to help me and assist me. But when Khadija alayhi salam gave birth, no one congratulated her. No one even came to her. No one even said, her sister, or also helped her, she was alone, completely alone. And we have narrations that Allah sent Maryam, the mother of Isa, and Asiya, the wife of Pharaoh, Eve, the wife of Adam, and Kulthum, the sister of Musa. And Allah sent them to assist Khadija alayhi salam with the birth and help her. So not just she's a magnificent individual, her birth was a magnificent birth as well, and she was born in a time, the most difficult time for the Prophet, where economical sanctions were placed. It was a very, very difficult time. So when she came, she was a blessing. And we see, like, I can go on about how she was and how her children was, even when she passed away. When the maid told the children, we told Hassan and Hussein eat, they said, have you ever seen us eat without our mother Fatemeh and Sister Narjis? You know, that respect. Now sometimes when the food is put on the table, we'll eat without our mothers even being there. So she's so magnificent, and when I look up on her, I just want to improve my life on the characteristics. And I hope one day that I become a daughter for my father like she was to her father. So
I think sometimes, again, you portray that so well, and you've described those roles, and I think it makes us all smile listening about such a personality. The issue is here, I think, what happens today. And I think what you described is her role as a daughter, and I think in history we've had a lot of mothers, wives, and other roles, other personalities who fulfill that role. But I think as a daughter, I think there's no prescribed way of how one could be as a daughter. So I think that's something in real life. I think it's different, isn't it?
Absolutely.
I think we've all got experiences in how we've let our mother down.
We've got a special guest, Sister Asma Hussein, with us today. And Sister, we'd like you to speak from your experiences and let us know, from your experiences, what do you think are the good attributes of a good daughter?
For me, obviously, first of all, Assalamu alaikum to everybody. For me as a daughter, like, you know, from your childhood, the expectations, you don't know what to do for your parents to make them happy, but inside yourself you do want to do something. So nothing can be very little, I would say, that, you know, whatever you can. For me, I remember when I was really young, and my mom was used to go shopping, and whenever she came back, I was used to make sure, I made sure I did all the housework she had to do when she came back home, and the smile that brought her on her face, like, you know, and that was something I can never forget. And then as you mature and you have these teachings and you learn from the like, you know, the ahadith and the teachings of Ahlul Bayt, that, you know, God has expectations on you, which are the rights of the parents. That, you know, so as a daughter, what am I expected to do, and how can I, you know, there's a hadith as well that you can never do enough for your parents. So whatever you do, whatever you can. For me, it was very important to think that what do they actually need, like, you know, and do they have to tell me what do they need? Do I have that kind of relationship with them that I understand before they say it? And I don't think that just happens with your own parents. This is your upbringing, because you are nurtured in a way that, you know, it comes with you, and then you bring it to, once you're married, you bring it to your husband's home, and the parents of your husband, they become your father and mothers as well. And as a daughter, you feel the same. So for me, it's like, you know, it's a kind of journey that started in my home and is still carrying on.
And it continues, doesn't it?
It never ends. And, like, you know, obviously we do have, and these parents' rights, they just carry on. So when can we do enough? I don't feel that we can ever do enough. But, like, you know, even looking after your siblings, these small things which I did when I was a little child, and then because I was the eldest daughter in my household, so I tried to do small things to make them happy, and now, like, you know, my parents are back home. What does make them happy now? Like, you know, it's small phone calls sometimes, like, you know, so they're waiting for that. So we all have busy lives, we work, do all these things, but, like, thinking about, like, you know, what are the teachings of Ahlul Bayt? How would, if it was Bibi Fatima, obviously you can't compare yourself with them, but what could you do? What is the possibility for you to do something? And then just making that phone call, making time to actually and sympathize with them, listen to them, because sometimes I think listening is the key. Like, you know, you give your time to them. You don't realize that how important that is.
I think it's important to give that time sincerely. And for them to feel that, because when you're doing it from the heart, they feel that.
Yeah, definitely. And like, you know, when there was another hadith which I read, and I was discussing with one of my friends, and she said that Bibi Fatemeh Zahra, she was used to communicate with her mother when she was in her womb. You know, she did it then when the time was tough. She was used to communicate and sympathize with her and tell her that it will be okay and all those. So who are we? We're no one. But like, you know, this teaching, this example gives us thought, like, you know, what can we do that can make our parents happy, or how can we sympathize with them in this busy life?
And that's really, I thought something that I wouldn't have come across based on your conversation. So you're saying readiness as a daughter allows you to embark on a more kind of prosperous future, to be a better mother, to be a better wife. So it starts from being a daughter. So what would be the challenges that you think are faced today, and maybe daughters are not performing their role, maybe, you know, from a younger age, and they see problems?
Yeah, I think there isn't enough material available on becoming a good daughter. You see countless books on how to become a good wife, the characteristics of a good wife, and you see the characteristics of a good mother, but there isn't much emphasis on the characteristics of a good daughter. And I think, like you said, it starts from the beginning. When you become a good daughter, you become a good wife, and then you become a good mother. It carries on. So I think there are many characteristics. When you talk about challenges today, in this society, you know, many people, when we look at the West, many people, the way they communicate with their parents is in a disrespectful way. And we see when Islam talks about the obedience towards the parents, it talks about the respect and honor through speech, not just actions. So it begins by speech. The Quran says, "Mula taqul laha ma uffin." So, you know, in Arab they usually say, "Uff," if they're just like, "Oh my God," like, is that saying? So they say you can't even say that. Don't even say that. Respect them in a sense. So I think it begins even with speech. You have to respect and honor them through speech. Through speech, you'll manifest in your actions.
We actually have a caller on the line, so I think. Are we going to go straight to the caller? Assalamu alaikum.
And enjoyable.
Assalamu alaikum. Thank you for calling.
Assalamu alaikum.
Alaikum assalam wa rahmatullah.
Thank you for calling, sister.
Yes, sister, what's your question?
Assalamu alaikum, sister.
Alaikum assalam. We can hear you, sister. What's your question?
First of all, I want to say salam to all of you, Sister Zahra. It is so nice to see her back.
Thank you so much. Thank you. Thank you.
And Sister Narjis, Sister Fatima, and Sister Asma Hussain.
Thank you.
All of you are looking very nice.
Thank you.
And I want to congratulate you on this auspicious day of these days of Bibi Fatemeh Zahra.
Thank you. Congratulations to you too.
Congratulations.
And thank you so much. This program is really, mashallah, really good. It's really enjoyable and beneficial.
Thank you.
Inshallah.
Sister, are you a daughter? Is there something that you'd like to bring to the table here? Is there any interesting insights into how you are as a mother or a daughter, actually?
Yes, I am a mother and I'm a daughter.
MashaAllah.
Alhamdulillah. And I think I would like to learn more instead of saying anything. And I'm just really enjoying this program, and I think I would like to listen instead of saying something.
That's very noble of you. Thank you, sister. Please keep us in your du'as.
Thank you for calling.
Yes.
Thank you.
That's very sweet.
Oh, that's so nice to hear. I think it's always kind of very enlightening when you hear such positive feedback. And again, I know the viewers miss you dearly, Zahra. but going back, we're talking about the challenges, I think, and.
Challenges as a daughter, obviously, like, you know, I would say that people, as sister said, that, you know, there's not much exposure of what the expectations, like, you know, sometimes you're just taken for granted that, you know, as a mother you're doing certain things, but you don't show your expectations from your daughters, because obviously this love is there and you think that you're going to do all this. So sometimes I think it's important to show your expectations as well and have this kind of exposure, which is, it doesn't have to be like, it doesn't have to be some sort of telling of, no, you must do that, you must do that. But I think as a community, maybe we need to do some programs where we can establish a role of a daughter, where sometimes it's important for people to go and attend these programs where these kind of issues are discussed, and I'm sure that people take things back and apply in their practical life. It's just making time and identifying these issues. I think once they identify that there are challenges, then obviously you take a step to do something towards it. So as I was talking to Sister Narjis, we do a lot of programs, so inshallah the next one will be coming up as a role of a daughter. And the challenges, if we do have a challenge, sometimes open discussions open a lot of things that, as a mother you don't realize that what challenges your daughters are facing, or are they aware of it, that, what's the expectations. So hopefully this is something in line, inshallah.
Inshallah. As a mother, most of us are daughters, because obviously we have to be daughters. But when people get married and they become mothers, they've got their own struggles, they've got their own lifestyle, they've become mothers, they've got their own children to deal with. How do you balance out? How much mothering do mothers then expect from mothers who are aging and mothers who are declining in health? Because we forget that their age and their health is very important. And if that's declining, are we still looking up to them to be,
when you switch.
Exactly.
At one point you have to be switch.
Because we're always looking to them to actually mother us down the chain. But when does the role actually switch? And should we not then actually give more consideration to the fact that their age has reached what it has reached?
Okay. To begin with, I'm a new mother now, but I've seen, I think anyone that becomes a new mother sees that responsibility just doubles. It doesn't just double, it triples. Your responsibility triples, and the free time I had before, I've seen I don't have it no more. So being a new mother, I've seen that there's more responsibility, but at the same time I do have elder parents as well, and I see that with everyone's parents, once they become older, your responsibility towards them becomes greater. They need more more care, and you need to assist them. So unfortunately in the West you see many people cut ties with their family, but in Islam it teaches us the opposite, and there's Salat al-Rahm is wajib, and even Salat al-Rahm, that connection, not cutting ties with your family members and your parents, that will prolong your life and you'll have a longer life. But even like in Islam, when you see the du'as like Islam teaches us to acknowledge that our parents have raised us, they struggled raising us, and now that they've become old age, we need to repay back that struggle that they struggled towards us. We need to repay back towards them. So I think it doesn't matter how much children you have. I've seen people with countless number of children. There's always free time that you can give back to your parents, because as much as you struggled with your kids now, you have to acknowledge that your parents have struggled with you, and you need to repay that back.
Yeah, I think, and we tend to forget that when we were at a young age and our mother was looking after us, she also was looking after her own mother. Maybe we were oblivious to that at that time, but at some age it becomes a point where your parents actually become in a weird way your children at the same time. So the role switches. So we need to actually be more considerate and spend more time with them and be more supportive.
It's just like, when you say when you become independent, they become dependent, don't they? So, and I see parents as like, you have one of the attribute of God, which is nurturer. Their nurturing is never going to end. They do realize that they can't do certain things, but they would still want to do it. It's just like God, that, no matter how old you get, He will still be giving it to you. So the love you get from your parents is never ending, and they would want to do things for you. But it's how you take it, and what do you expect from them? Like, in now what I've seen, and in practical life, once you get married, you just take it for granted. Okay, now I have a child, and my mom is going to look after the child because I want to go to work. So it doesn't occur that maybe she needs her time now. because you know, you have your children. Okay, no, once I've heard colleagues and friends who say, yeah, I'm going to have a baby, and I said, where are you going to? Are you going to continue, or are you going to leave the job? No, my mom will look after it for her. And I'm like, okay. What about your mom, who's like, you know, looked after maybe 5 or 6 of you, and then now it's her time. Like, you know, you, for example, I have plans once my kids are grown. I want to do things, but I know I would want to look after my grandchildren, and because the love for your grandchildren, this is what they say. My mom says that it's much more than, like, you know, she loves me, and my mother-in-law, she says, like, you know, more than her son, she loves the grandchildren. And I can see that as well. Like, you know, they do a lot of things, but then should we take it for granted? Should we take up this as a, okay, they're going to do that? I teach. I'm a teacher. And there was somebody, like, you know, a grandmother who drops the child every day. And it was Easter holidays, and she came back, she went to Pakistan to see her family, and she's over 60. And she comes back, and I said, why did you come back so quick? It was only 10 days. And she goes, oh, because I had to bring the child to school, because the daughter works. Now, I was just thinking, this is your time to have fun, relax, be with the family, because you've done your job. So I think nowadays we need to realize that, you know, okay, stop, think. If you can't do something for them, at least don't expect them to do.
I think sorry.
No, I was going to take off to a break very shortly. So
I think just to summarize that, I think our expectations from our mothers and our parents should decrease as we get more stable and independent. That doesn't mean it takes us 60 years to be independent, but I think the role should switch, and we should need to start thinking about what we should do for them rather than what to expect.
I think the take-home message for the viewers, and I think I've learned from this, is to understand that your mothers, as much as they want to be giving, there's a certain amount that you have to give back as a daughter, not take advantage. And I think it's a really valid point. Look about all the experiences you've had where you've asked your parents, your mother, to do more than they actually can give, and that's when it leads to exhaustion and this kind of, you know, health deterioration. And I guess as a new mother, I think you can see that as well, how exhausting it must be to give to your daughter. And I'm off to a break soon, but I know it's been a fantastic discussion. I've really enjoyed it, and I know that Zahra, you'll be back with us, inshallah, to tell us about how you've moved to your to motherhood from your very active career. So we look forward to having you back. And I know that it's been popular request for you to come back and give a bit more of your time, I guess. And I know we have another guest after the show.
Yes. After the break, Sister Ehlan, who will be giving her experiences from the point of view of a mother, and she has been a mother for a number of years now, but we'll let you speak to her about this, and we see you inshallah after the break.
Thank you again, sisters.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. A pleasure.
Thank you.
If nobody knows, Zahra has just recently had a baby boy, so congratulations, alhamdulillah.
Congratulations, yes.
And this is her first appearance back as a guest, speaking on this special show where we are speaking about Bibi Fatemeh Zahra alayhi salam. Zahra, from your experiences, how would you describe the best attributes of a mother, daughter and a wife? We all know, all the viewers know, Bibi Fatemeh Zahra alayhi salam was the best of all three. What would you like to share with the viewers today?
Well, like you said, it's the anniversary of the birth of the Lady of Life, Fatemeh Zahra alayhi salam. And when we look at the characteristics of this lady, we see that she was a magnificent wife, mother and daughter. And when we really want to improve upon ourselves, because we're all daughters, wives and mothers, so when we want to improve upon ourselves, we look at this example, this great example. Even she used to put thrones in the ground, so she used to step on it. Fatemeh Zahra alayhi salam used to go, she used to even pick the thrones from her father, so that even her hands used to bleed, and she used to take it, and she used to assist him when this happened. So she was a daughter and a mother to her father as well. And we see that she was a magnificent. If you see Hadith al-Kisa, if someone's going to introduce my household or your household, they usually say the father's name and then they say the mother. But when we see in Hadith al-Kisa, it says Hum Fatima wa abiha wa ba'luha wa baniha. She's the center of the household. That's the importance that she had. That's how great she was. That when they introduced the household of the Prophet, we see that they introduced the household through her. So there's Fatemeh Zahra alayhi salam is a magnificent mother, daughter, and we see there's so many examples. When you read upon narrations, I guarantee there is no woman that history has seen as caring and as magnificent Fatima Zahra example of this lady. And we see that when she was born, before she was born, the Prophet had children, but then they used to die in an early age. So there's people that used to taunt the Prophet. They used to say Ep1. When he walks, the people used to shout Ep1, Ep1, as in the person with no progeny, the person who hasn't got a line, his line is cut. So people used to always taunt the Prophet as in you can't have children, you don't have children, you don't have a line after you. So when Fatima Zahra alayhi salam came, she was a blessing, and that's why the Quran revealed, "Inna a'tainaka al-kawthar fasalli rabbika wanhar, inna shani'aka huwa al-abtar," that your enemy is the one. So we see that she was a blessing, but you often hear that there's a saying that the Prophet used to say, "Ummu abiha," she's a mother of her father. And when we see when we look at our lives, are we really mothers to our fathers? In a sense, we're not. So when we look at examples, let me just mention a few narrations of examples of how Fatima Zahra, the characteristics of Fatima Zahra alayhi salam. There's a narration that once the Prophet was doing sujood in Kaaba, and Fatima Zahra alayhi salam was very young at that age. I think narration says around 6 years old. So then a man by Abu Jahl, he came and he took the feces of the camel and he poured it on the head of the Prophet's Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. And when he poured it upon him, it was Fatima Zahra alayhi salam that went to him, she cleaned him, she wiped his face. She's the one that cleaned him after that. And she was so caring as a daughter that she was like a mother to him. Now a mother is, when a mum, like I've just had a child, I've seen that love towards my child, I just want to do everything for him. She was like that towards her father. That's the characteristics that she had. And there's another narration as well that, Abu Lahab, the uncle, there's in the Quran, Tabbat yada Abi Lahabin wa tab. And Abu Lahab was the uncle of the Prophet. So he used to tell people to throw stones at the Prophet, and his wife used to burn wood and she used to throw it at the Prophet.
Assalamu alaikum, dear brothers and sisters, and welcome to a very special show today where we're live from the studio with very special guests who will be talking about the Wiladat of Our Lady Fatima Zahra, peace and blessings be upon her, and looking at some of her virtues as a mother and a daughter. But more importantly, we'll have guests on the show today who will be describing their experiences and their insights and how they perform these roles in our lives today. Well, first of all, I have a very special guest on the show today, someone who's not everyone knows, all the viewers are very familiar with. We've got Zahra Al-Alawi with us, who will be talking about some of the virtues of Our Lady. First of all, thank you, Zahra, for Assalamu alaikum, thank you for being on the show.
Wa alaikum assalam, salam to you and the audience and everyone.
It's an absolute honor to have Zahra